Welcome to my show. A guest here is her name is Meghan Gaul. Mrs. Meghan, how are you doing, ma?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you very much, Mrs. Meghan. Firstly, you are a weight loss coach. You are also a solopreneur. Can you please, ma, discuss more about yourself and how you are doing currently now, ma?
Sure. So I became a health coach in 2021, and this was after I changed how I approached my eating completely and lost 100 pounds in 2018. And that changed my life so drastically, not just the weight loss, but the change in my mindset that I felt capable of changing my career too. So I moved from my kind of education focused career to providing weight loss support in one-on-one coaching. I'm from Staten Island. I love nerdy stuff, and that's really it about me. That's my introduction.
Mhm. Thank you so much, Mrs. Meghan. And have you thought of writing a book or have you even written anyone? Because I didn't see you written anymore.
I have thought about it. I make a lot of resources for my clients. I make a lot of worksheets to help them either define their weight loss goals or come up with helpful meal lists for themselves, change their beliefs about what they're capable of. So I've thought about putting them together in a book, but I haven't done it yet. I have a lot of a lot of possible goals floating in my head. Um, yeah, so I've never written one, but it could be in the future.
Completely agree. It's not easy in this world. And you also said you lost 100 lbs with some sustainable habits. Can you please, ma, discuss on those habits and discuss more on that, ma?
Yeah. So when people hear, the words 100-pound weight loss, they, I think some people picture, the Biggest Loser shows where people are sweating on the treadmill for hours a day and eating 500 calories, um, and shedding the weight really fast. And then, of course, we also think about people who are yo-yoing, who gain that weight back really quickly, which is very common. So, when I lost 100 pounds, my whole goal was to lose it permanently, not to gain it back. And I think most people, want to keep the weight off that they lose. But unfortunately, the way that so many of us approach it, the way that we're taught to approach weight loss, is focused on drastic things that are really hard to keep up for the normal person living a normal life. So, one example would be cutting out carbs or cutting out sugar. These things are really challenging when you're trying to live a normal life that includes going to celebrations where there's, cake, pizza, ice cream. It's really difficult to do when you're celebrating holidays, like we're about to celebrate Thanksgiving here in the US. Um, so those kinds of changes are almost made to be temporary because they're so different than how many people live normally. So my goal when I tried to lose weight was I wanted to only make changes that actually fit with my normal life. So I think that's the big difference when you're aiming to specifically lose weight permanently rather than temporarily.
All right, thank you so much, Mrs. Megan. And how would you try to describe a maintenance mindset in the context of weight loss? And how do you think it differs from traditional dieting, ma?
Great question. So when you approach weight loss with a maintenance mindset, you are asking yourself, what are the things, what are the changes that I'm going to make to my behavior that I intend to keep when I'm maintaining this weight loss? So you got to picture yourself in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years, and you have to ask yourself, what are the behaviors that that person is doing to keep the weight off? And this is different than a temporary mindset because what many people do when they say, "Oh, I got to shed a few pounds," is they look for healthy recipes. They look for the newest recommendations for quick weight loss. So every few years it changes. It's, Atkins 1 year, it's low fat another year, it's carnivore this year. So those changes, the person who's using a temporary mindset is not asking themselves, in 20 years, will I still want to eat carnivore? They're not really sitting down with that possibility and thinking, like, what would that look like? What would I have to give up? What would my life look like? What would my day look like? Same thing for people who are adopting really, really rigorous exercise programs to lose weight. If they're spending 3 days or 3 hours a day exercising to lose the weight, they might not have thought of themselves 20 years in the future and saying, is that person still spending 3 hours a day losing weight, exercising, or is that not realistic? So all that is to say is that losing weight with a maintenance mindset means each behavior change you intend to make, you ask yourself whether that is possible in 20 years down the road.
Hmm. Thank you so much. And I'm so glad for you. It's not easy.
Thank
I'm
you.
so happy for you, Mrs. Megan. Honestly speaking, that's will really make, even a man really admire you. Thank you so much, man. And
Oh.
what are some daily habits that you think supports a maintenance mindset in weight loss, man?
Number one, my favorite daily habit that supports my weight 100 pounds down is journaling my food. And I include pre-planning that food. So not just journaling it after I eat the meal. So peanut butter jelly sandwich, write it down in my journal. It's more like I sit down in the morning and write out breakfast, eggs, lunch, peanut butter jelly sandwich, dinner, chicken sausage and potatoes, dessert, cereal. So food journaling, but being proactive and planning the food is, I think, the number one habit for me. Um, because so many people live and eat impulsively or unintentionally based on what's around them. And that is what creates, for so many people, a higher calorie average, which supports a higher weight. So being intentional and planning out your food in the morning is the number one habit for me. Another really important habit that many people don't create time for is purposeful stress relief because we build up stress as humans like nobody's business. We let work get to us, we let relationships get to us, and that frustration leads so many people to eating for comfort. And instead of getting or instead of continuing the eating for comfort habit, we really have to get proactive about managing the stress in a totally different way every single day. So, very specifically, for me, this looked like putting in a meditation habit before work every day, purposefully setting aside time for walking outside, which for me individually, that really helps me relieve stress, get my mind off of the frustrations, and let my body come back to a state of relaxation. So those are the two top habits that help people maintain weight: purposeful stress relief and journaling their food in a proactive way.
Hmm. Thank you so much, Mrs. Megan. And how do you personally advise clients to avoid all or nothing thinking when it comes to food and exercises, ma?
Mm. So all or nothing thinking is a very human, a very human pattern. Our
Mm.
brains love to think about things as black and white. It helped us when we were, pre-evolutionary, like early evolutionary humans living outside of society, really needed to make quick decisions when there was danger on the horizon, a predator chasing us. So it makes sense that we spent thousands of years developing that all or nothing thinking. But now we still have it. Our brains haven't evolved past it, but it doesn't help us in the same way because so much of our stressors um, are about something that may or may not happen in the future. That's really not necessary for us to get stressed about. So the way that all or nothing thinking really works against people when they're trying to lose weight or maintain a healthy weight is they think of their success as, complete success or complete failure. So if they see themselves eating a donut during the day, their concept, the thoughts that might run through their head are like, I shouldn't have done that. I'm trying to lose weight. I've totally blown the day. Um, and that example of all or nothing thinking is a great segue into that person saying, well, since I've blown the day, I'm going to start tomorrow. Might as well order in Chinese takeout, might as well get the egg rolls and the extra appetizer. That's just one example, but there's a lot of small ways that we do that all the time. All or nothing thinking really works against us steadily moving forward and eating a little bit less over time to create that weight loss. So, the way that I advise clients to change this is first to recognize it. So, my clients like to journal. Sometimes they do brain dump journal activities that help them kind of see what their thoughts are. Um, Often during our coaching sessions, we'll kind of have them voice the thoughts that were happening, and we'll kind of try to poke holes in that. So, for example, if a client said, my brain was telling me, you've been healthy all day. Why don't you have this food as a reward? We'll voice that during a coaching session, and I'll ask the client, is that true? Is that always true? Do you believe it 100%? Is this belief or this thought helping you make the decisions that you want to make for weight loss? Is there a different thought that you could answer with? So, really, there's a lot of skills with thought awareness, cognitive awareness that can really help someone stop that all or nothing thinking and say, maybe there's a different way I can take a middle ground approach here. And I can ask myself, how can I move forward towards my goal, um, even if I don't feel like knocking out of the park and saying no to all the donuts? Maybe I can have half a donut and that will still help me to my goal. That's a great example of a middle ground thinking rather than all or nothing thinking.
Hmm, as well said. Thank you so much, Mrs. Megan.
Yeah.
Sleeping, stress management, even mental health is another thing when it comes to this weight loss now. So, what role do you think sleep, good sleep, stress management, and also mental health play in supporting a healthy weight loss now?
Oh, I think it means everything for healthy weight loss.
Hmm.
Um, I think that if we were all in a vacuum, we weren't living a normal life with stressors and things, and they gave us a diet that was fewer calories than our body needed, we would all lose weight. That's easy, right? But we are humans living in a world where we're under on undersleeping. We let too much stress build up. We don't have ways to relieve the stress. And a lot of us struggle with mental health issues, whether it's anxiety, depression, um, OCD. There's a lot of mental health issues that can interrupt you and change and make your thinking a little more black and white than you want it to be. So, the mechanisms for losing weight are easy, but that's not the part that most people need help with. Most people need help with keeping them up long enough to achieve the result. And that means months and years. So it takes a lot of calmness and patience to, change the way you're eating and do it every day for years. So, a big part of that is having the um, the feeling of safety and the feeling of, I'm going to do this thing come hell or high water. I'm going to continue this habit even when it's hard, even when I have less time than I want. Um, so it takes a lot of it takes a lot of patience to build in the structure around, you eating less to maintain to achieve a lower weight. So sleep is really important, I see, mostly for clients who, when they get little sleep, they forget to eat during the day and then they become ravenous in the evening and then they overeat. So sleep becomes really helpful for them because when they're well rested, they eat regular meals during the day and they have the willpower and the calmness to eat a regular meal in the evening without needing to overeat. So I see sleep as really important there. So if you're someone who feels like you don't you can't hold up your actions for more than a few days in a row before falling off your plan, then you might want to look at how well you're sleeping or how well you're managing your stress. Maybe that's a place where you can make an improvement and create a better foundation for you to keep up your actions for months and years.
Completely agree. It's definitely not easy. All this food
Mm-mm.
that we have today is a very it's very delicious. To just have this mindset of saying I will have to reduce it and just look for a way to lose my weight is totally difficult. It requires patience. I completely agree. Thank you so
Mhm.
much, Mrs. Megan. And what advice, Mark, would you like to give to someone who wants to maintain their results after reaching their goal, to lose a lot of weight? What advice can you give to someone to just maintain those results they've had now?
Oh, I like that question. I'm remembering back to when I reached my goal weight.
Mm.
I was scared to start maintaining. I thought that I had to kind of stay on my weight loss plan for the long term. And I was scared to start eating a little bit more to maintain that weight because I had that fear of I will gain this all back. And that's a very common fear for people who have lost weight multiple times and have never maintained it. So this is the approach I took. One, I reached out for a little bit of help. So I found other people who were maintaining weight loss, and I kind of asked them like, how do you do this? How do you maintain? And a lot of the advice I got was you can start eating a little more, but keep the habits that you've built. So keep your food journaling habit, keep your walking habit, keep your stress relief habits. All of those things you want to keep doing. The only difference is that you're eating a little bit more than you were when you were losing weight. And so that's what I did. I kept food journaling, I kept walking, I kept meditating, but I made my meals a little bigger. And when I was tracking my calories were maybe 200 to 300 calories more than they were when I was losing weight. And what I saw was my weight, slowly stabilized. And then it became, well, now I keep doing these things forever. Now I keep doing these things forever. And I watch the weight, my aim is for it to stay the same. And I think another thing that trips people up is they expect the scale weight to always be the same number. They want it, if they reach 150 pounds, they want to see it say 150. So if it says 152, they think, well, I've gained the weight back. But what I learned from all those maintainers that I talked to was that when you are maintaining a weight, often you're living within a range. You're living within a 5 to 10 pound range that is normal for your body, your habits, and how you're eating and the activity you're doing. So they all recommend pick a range. Pick a range that's 5 or 10 pounds, maybe 145 to 150 or 145 to 155. And this range is helpful because when you see your weight go to 144, 143, you know you've started to lose weight. So you should be focusing on bringing your calories up a little bit. When you see your weight start to go to 155, 165, I'm sorry, 156, you know you started to gain weight. So it would be useful to look at your portions and to make sure you're measuring them properly and bring your weight back down into the range that you want to live at. So that was so helpful for me to hear because I'd never really talked to anyone who was maintaining a weight loss for 5 or 10 years. And these people knew you're going to gain a little weight, you're going to lose a little weight. This is normal. And the way you keep the weight off long term is to honor your range and make changes when you find yourself out of the range. So that's how I have approached it.
Yes, I completely agree. Thank you so much, Mrs. Megan. You've done it well. Thank you, ma. And
Thanks.
lastly, there's a question I normally ask, ma. From the ancestors, from the forefathers, there's a lot of things that have happened during our ancestral time that is missing in our time today. If there is anyone or anything you would like to bring back to our time today, what do you think that thing would be, ma?
Hmm. I think um, I would say being together purposefully and presently. I think right now, a lot of us spend time with our loved ones or our friends when we're thinking about something totally different, or we're lost in our phones, or we're lost reading something. So that didn't exist for our forefathers. If they were with someone, they were with them. They were present. They were living in the moment. And I think we do that less and less now. So that's something I would like to bring back. I think that would help us all with our mental health, our stress levels, and just feeling more connected to each other.
I completely agree with you, Mrs. Megan. The rise of technology has caused a lot in our time today. The
Hmm.
devices we have is just very, very sensitive. And even sometimes I usually ask my dad, is that how it is during your time? My dad will say, it's not like that, that's how it is currently now. Everything has changed. And everybody
Hmm.
just want to just focus on the main thing. And okay, it's just something that we just have to deal with in our time today. Mrs. Megan,
Yeah.
I want to personally thank you. You are a big inspiration to other people around the world. You did this and you're always maintaining your weight. And I want to sincerely appreciate you for, having the interest to be on my show. Thank you so much, ma.
Oh, thank you for having me. This was really nice, and you had some great questions. So thank you.
All right, ma. Have a wonderful day, ma. Bye bye.
You too. Bye bye.